Welcome to Self-Evident Truth with the Grumpy Old Vet, episode 12. Well, we've got a few things to talk over tonight, and yep, they're at it again. Oh my gosh, look here. Yep, they're at it again. You know, they've had to have spent about $100,000 to $120,000 on this legal warfare over hurt feelings. It's not just hurt feelings; they're actually scared to death of their power being lost and gone. And that's really what this is all about, right? People in power abusing their power. We saw it with Neil Brady going after, Kelly Mapes and Joe Hendy for political speech, plain and simple political speech. And isn't it odd how when we subpoenaed Mark Wiley to come to court, he failed to appear? That's a failure to appear to a subpoena. And just like Hunter Biden, nothing happened to him. Um, so that's what this is really all about: power, and the corruption of power, and who's been wielding the power. So now your anti-Trump party, consisting of Chair Brent Leininger, Vice Chair Susan Avery, I think it's Susie Avery, uh, Secretary Marnie Cast, and Treasurer, well, her sidekick Abe Dane, and the Deputy Treasurer Gary Leininger. Oh, and look at here, the parliamentarian Neil Brady. Huh, look at there. Look at there. Only this time what they're doing is their ex parte verified motion for an order to show cause why the Michigan Republican State Committee and Christina Caramo should not be held in contempt of court. Contempt of court. Well, that's kind of odd. First off, we have to look and see who all is behind this lawsuit. Well, we know Brent Leininger is for sure. We know these officers are for sure. Well, who's their executive committee? Well, let's see, you got Rob Soha on there, city councilman, by the way. And you've got others that are on there. And they're trying to sue the Michigan Republican Party. Why? Because the Michigan Republican Party picked the America First Party as the official Republican Party of Hillsdale. Because see, there can only be one official party of Hillsdale, and they're all hurt that they weren't named that, and that really bothers them. Well, maybe if they uh, didn't do so much of this and actually did some actual community work and were involved in their community, maybe if they actually promoted the values of the Republican Party, maybe if they actually promoted other candidates other than just their cabal, then they might have been picked. But see, let me point something out here that's really funny, and that is, let's look at Michigan Compiled Law 169.211.6. It says political party committee means a state, central, district, or county committee of a political party. Each state central committee shall designate the official party, county, and district committees. Okay. But the anti-Trumpers are suing us because they don't want the state committee to pick. They want a Whitmer-appointed judge to pick. And yet, at the next election, they're going to want you to vote for them because they're going to say they're Republicans. Are they really? Are they really? Or are they pretenders? Are they people pretending to be something so that the mass of people will vote for them when they're really actually something else? See, I learned a long time ago, never listen to what someone says they are. Watch and see what they do, because their actions will tell you who they are. That's kind of biblical. It says you'll know the tree by its fruit. Well, this fruit looks like sour grapes. So if we go back to 169, 211, subsection 6, it says each state central committee shall designate the official party, county and district committees. There must not be more than one officially designated political party committee per county and per congressional district. Now, that doesn't say that there can't be more than one party. There can be two, there can be four, there can be five Republican parties, right? But what it says is there can only be one official one. And who does it say picks that? Well, it says that the state central party picks that, MIGOP. But the anti-Trump party is suing them. What happened to the rule of law? The rule of law. We keep hearing that, right? Okay, well, maybe it's the rule of law that we agree with that we want, not the total rule. So isn't that amazing? Now, what really brought all this about was in January and February, Marnie Kassoff not handing out um, affidavits of identity for precinct delegate, which they wanted. People would go up there and want, but they wouldn't get. There was always some excuse why they couldn't get it. So, of course, we did that at a party meeting. Now, Marnie held them and held on to them for almost 7 weeks. Actually, she published our name, okay, under Michigan Compiled Law 168.554. It says the Secretary of the State or county or city clerk shall forthwith prepare and publicly expose in his office a list of the candidates who have filed nominating petitions or filing fees in his office as near as may be as they will appear upon the official primary election ballot. Marnie published all of our names. She published all of our names for 7 weeks, almost 8 weeks. But then on the last day, she threw all those nominating petitions out and accepted 70 from the anti-Trump party. Now, this is after April. She, without any rule of law, without any authority, petitioned to have the party's precinct delegate allocation dropped from 133 to 100, just out of the blue. Like she didn't know any of this was going to happen. Okay. So there's another problem with that. Michigan Compiled Law 168.558 goes on down to say an officer shall not certify to the Board of Election Commissioners the name of a candidate who fails to comply with this section. It also says that the county clerk shall immediately forward one copy of the affidavit of identity by first-class mail to the Secretary of State. Well, obviously, if she held him for some weeks, she didn't do that, did she? Well, what about the rule of law? The rule of law. Well, gee, that part never come up. And the lawsuit did it. See, the most perfect lie is all truth, with certain things left out, isn't it? Isn't that odd? Well, here's another little problem we have. Judge Olsaver was placed on the bench by none other than Governor Whitmer, Democrat. in a county as the circuit court judge that overwhelmingly votes Republican. Now, there's a little problem. Michigan Court Rule 2.003. The title of it is Disqualification of Judge. If we go down to C, which is grounds, number one, disqualification of a judge is warranted for reasons that include, but are not limited to, the following. A, the judge is biased or prejudiced for or against a party or attorney. Now, it would seem that he's prejudiced against the America First because the America First has filed legitimate complaints with the Judicial Tenure Commission, and as he sits on this case, is under active investigation by the Judicial Tenure Commission. I think that might prejudice him just a little bit, right? We're not talking nothing. We're talking an active investigation. The other thing is the lawyer on the other side, Jonathan Lauterbach, he was placed as a judge on the bench by none other than Jennifer Granholm, Democrat. What do you think about that? So maybe they've got a little bit in common, right? Now, B says the judge based on objective and reasonable perceptions has either one, a serious risk of actual bias impacting the due process rights of a party, or has failed to adhere to the appearance of impropriety standards set forth in Canon 2 of the Michigan Code of Judicial Conduct, which is exactly what happened. See, we all filed answers and motions to Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe's complaints. But for some reason, the judge still allowed Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, Jonathan Lauterbach, to file a request for default judgment. And the judge went ahead and defaulted us. But we answered everything. Now, isn't it odd? Where we have to answer what we answer is in Marnie Cass's office. Well, my goodness gracious, she's a party to the suit on the other side. Isn't that amazing? Now, I've already had and have proof that I have filed things in Marnie's office, and oddly, they've come up missing. It's cost me thousands of dollars in lawsuits because of missed paperwork, and I've got proof of it. So I started videotaping when I would go in and file. Then I got threatened with criminal indictment for doing it under Michigan Court Rule 8.115C. Isn't that odd? So our elected officials don't want us to videotape them in the performance of their duties, even though there's many federal court cases that say that the people under the First Amendment have the right to videotape their elected officials in the official performance of their duties. Let's go on. So, or D, we'll come down here to D, the judge has been consulted or employed as an attorney in the matter in controversy. Well, I think that fits. See, one of the things that the judge is being investigated for is ex parte communication with Jonathan Lauterbach. Isn't that odd? Well, part of that is because in this order right here, you notice the date on that, April 28th, 2023. That's when the judge wrote the order. That's when he signed it. Okay, now that wasn't published publicly until it hit Marnie Cass's office, the clerk's office, and was filed on May 3rd. However, isn't it odd? Brent Leiniger had a meeting on the 27th, the day before the judge wrote this. And somehow he had a crystal ball in which it orders Brent Leininger and Abe Dane are authorized to access any bank accounts box held in the name of the HCREC or the Hillsdale County Republican Party. And that Abe was supposed to be named as the treasurer. It's in the order. But at that meeting on the 27th, Brent was bragging how he had Abe Dane's name changed on the banking and with the Secretary of State, either on the 24th or the 25th, almost a whole week before the judge's order became public. So either they have a very good crystal ball, or maybe they're consulting Randy Johnson's wife and had a psychic reading and it was in the cards, or Jonathan Lauterbach, who was placed on the bench by a Democrat, talked to Judge Olsaver, who was placed on the bench by a Democrat, without the other party being present. That's called ex parte communication. That violates judicial canon number 2. So, shall we go on? F. The judge knows that he or she, individually or as a fiduciary, or the judge's spouse, parent, or child, wherever residing, or any other member of the judge's family residing in the judge's household, has more than a de minimis economic interest in the subject matter in controversy that could be substantially impacted by the proceeding. Well, isn't it odd how the judge now sees that there's a huge upswell of America First people in Lenawee County as well? Now, wouldn't it be interesting if the judge, knowing that he's an incumbent in that position to get elected again, knows that even though they're not running as a Republican or a Democrat, is worried about getting elected again? And he's worried about that pesky little America First faction that happens to be the majority of people in Lenawee County. Well, the easiest way to do that is to attack the Michigan GOP. I think that's a substantial. How much does a judge make? I think it's over $100,000 a year. I think that would be a substantial economic interest in the judge and his family, wouldn't it? That's F under Michigan Court Rule 2.003. Or G, the judge or the judge's spouse or person within the third degree of relationship to either of them or the spouse of such a person. 3, is known by the judge to have a more than a de minimis interest that could be substantially affected by the proceedings. We've just covered that. Or is, to the judge's knowledge, likely to be a material witness in the proceeding. Well, G, what the judge has done, along with Marnie Cass, along with Abe Dane, and other co-conspirators, if a federal lawsuit, a Title 18, 242, subsection 1983 lawsuit, were to be filed, where people's civil rights, their right to run for an office or their right to vote for somebody, is withheld or tampered with under the color of law. That's not just a civil action, that's a criminal action. But what about rule of law? Rule of law. Well, I guess it's just the laws that we want to follow. I guess that's what it is. Isn't that odd? Interesting, isn't it? This has taken quite a wrinkle. Now, it's cost that other party, the anti-Trump party, probably close to $100,000 to $120,000 to carry on this nonsense. What do you think that $100,000 or $120,000 would have done if they'd have run a community event. How far would that have gone? What could they have done for the community for that kind of money? Quite a little bit. Could have helped quite a few people. But instead, they would rather conspire, I assume, to tamper with people's civil rights, not just the people who were running, but anyone who would have wanted to vote for those people. Their civil rights were also violated. That could be quite a little bit. Okay. Now we know that all these people connected to the anti-Trump party are behind the lawsuit. Now some of them say, oh, well, we don't agree with it. Okay, how come you haven't put a motion on the table in a second and vote to stop the lawsuit? See, put your money where your mouth is. But a lot of them go, oh, well, one of them is a city council member. He doesn't understand Robert's Rules of Order that he can put a motion on the table. So obviously, that's lip service. He actually agrees with the lawsuit because he's not going to do anything to stop it, is he? So that means they're all behind it. Now, if federal lawsuits get filed, what's it going to cost the county? That could be interesting. That could be quite costly for electing power-hungry people that aren't what they say they are. Now, how do I know they're anti-Trump? And that the America First group supports the America First idea? Well, see, Oakland County Republican Party is having a Lincoln Day dinner this Sunday. And the keynote speaker in person is Donald J. Trump. He's going to be there. The tickets were costly. But the only people who bought tickets to go and are taking a bus are the America First Republican Party. The America First Republican Party has 30 people, 3 tables, going to the Oakland County Lincoln Day dinner to see and hear Donald J. Trump in person. You know what? No one from that other party bought a ticket. They had enough money to spend $100,000 to $120,000 on a lawsuit. They didn't have enough money, obviously, to go see Donald J. Trump speak. So you see, there are 2 parties. There are 2 Republican parties in Hillsdale. There's an America First Republican Party, and there's an anti-Trump Republican Party. Now, let's be very clear in what the judge ordered the America First Republican Party that they could not do. Okay? It says very clearly in his order that the says that the America First Republican Party, those of us named on the suit, these people here, those are the people named on the suit. It said that we couldn't hold ourselves out as or purport to be the Hillsdale County Republican Executive Committee. It says it specifically. It says the HCREC. We can't hold ourselves out as the Hillsdale County Republican Executive Committee or the HCREC. It also goes on to say that we can't hold ourselves out as the Hillsdale County Republican Party, the HCRP. Well, if you've looked at all of our logos and everything we've ever done, we've never done it as the Hillsdale County Republican Party. Mm. Look at our logo closely. It says the Hillsdale Republican Party. Everything we've ever done has been the Hillsdale Republican Party. So we haven't violated the judge's order at all. See, they want to go by the letter of the law. So we went by the letter of the law. But see, when they don't like the letter of the law, then they go, well, it's the spirit of the law. Okay, but what about the spirit of the law on our side? Oh, well, we don't like that. You're sounding a lot like Biden and Hunter Biden supporters, right? Joe and Hunter Biden supporters, where the rule of law is only good when it does what they want it to do. Just like Mark Wiley doesn't have to show up for a subpoena, he can be failure to appear. And his buddy, Neil Brady, beats feet right over to the judge as soon as a new judge gets named and makes sure that he nolos the case. Why do you think that is? You think maybe Neil understood and knew that it was political speech? But see, Mark Wiley controls Neil's budget, so was Neil extorted to do it? Or was Neil part of the conspiracy to do it? That's what needs to be determined in federal court, isn't it? Isn't that odd? So I personally think, because of Michigan Court Rule 2.003, the judge should be disqualified. He's done many things. He tried to haul us to a foreign court, tried to make us be charged in Hillsdale but go to Lenawee. Yeah, they tried to do that. I'm the one that stopped that, and the judge has commented on that quite a few times. Made me a target, showed bias for me demanding that my constitutional rights be recognized and be protected and be followed. See, a lot of people don't like people who stand up for America first. They don't like people who stand up for rights. They don't like people who stand up for the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution. But God's word tells us those that live by the sword die by the sword. Those that live by the letter of the law die by the letter of the law. This is why the New Testament talks about the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law. So, your anti-Trump Republican Party in Hillsdale, made up of Brent Leineger, Doug Ingles, Mark Wiley, Abe Dane, Marty Cast, Bambi Summerlot, um, Stephanie Kaiser. They don't want America first. They want special treatment under the law. They don't want us to all be under the same law as the 14th Amendment guarantees. They want to be above the law. So that's what I have. That's my opinion. You may have a different one. That's okay. You have the right to your opinion. I think I've made my case. You decide. I think it absolutely proves that they're willing to spend money just like your tax money, have a false hearing for the people, and still raise your taxes. That doesn't sound like an America First candidate to me. That doesn't sound like America First policy. That doesn't sound like sound conservative policies. That seems to be tax and spend. That's what the anti-Trumpers do, tax and spend. Claim to be something that they're not. Fool the people. But here's the one thing. Once you see the dragon uncloaked, you can't see the dragon as anything else. So don't forget, Mike Shirkey's part of this, and so are the Hodshires. They're going to claim, and they did in 2020, that they supported Trump. They never put out any Trump signs. I did. They've never done anything. They've never held any community events to help the community. We have. But yet, they've got $100,000 to $120,000 to just keep suing and suing and suing. Elections have consequences. So y'all think it over. Have a good tomorrow. Live, love, laugh. Enjoy life. Critically think. Ask questions. Why? And don't just take somebody's answer for it. Look it up. I've cited what I've pulled up. You can pull it up yourself. DuckDuckGo, Google, doesn't matter. Look it up. Don't just take my word for it. But y'all have a good night. God bless Hillsdale and God bless America.